Mr. Blankenship?
Thank you, Madam Chair. If this were Tuesday night, I would make a motion to eliminate line item 101-24-53007, appropriated for area economic development, i.e. Logan County Economic Development Partnership, in the amount of $55,000. This is a motion to eliminate, not suspend, nor prolong, or I just want to fully eliminate that. I don't want it suspended or postponed.
Is there a second? Mrs. Dunn? Mr. Bateman?
This is going to be a question for Chuck. If, so can we move, would we have to make another motion to add a line item to put that money into, just in case a form of economic development forms that we would be willing to fund? Basically, exactly what we just did.
Yeah, I think that would probably be, the expedient way would be to do a, I guess they would be competing motions, or, to make a placeholder. If you made that $55,000 a contingency fund, if you put it over into a contingency fund, it could be at a later date at any, it could be used for any purpose. But it'd take a full vote of the board, three-fourths majority of the board, because it'd be amending the budget to move it to another place. So essentially, it's exactly what you were doing with docks. You'd be removing it from that. You'd be making a contingency, a motion for a contingency fund of $55,000 that would have no direction per se, but could be at a later date.
Well, okay, so for clarity, I agree with Mr. Blankenship. I do not want to fund economic development at its current state. But I don't want to expend the funds during the fiscal year on something else, and then all of a sudden a new or different type of economic development comes forward, and we would have the opportunity to fund it. So there would have to be a second motion for a economic development contingency fund, or however you want to call it.
However you want to word it, yeah.
Mr. Blankenship?
I would like to defer this to the finance chair, and I believe the state's attorney has responded to that. Is that correct in the letter?
Well, actually, Sally did, but the state's attorney was copied, and I don't know if the director addressed it. I don't know if you saw a copy or not. Where, what it was in regard to, could we put it in the, if we put it in the budget, could we suspend it? And she said it would take a new vote of the board to suspend payment based on non-performance of duties, things of that nature. And if that helps.
Mr. Blankenship?
Well, I happen to have a copy of the response, and the state's attorney stated that he believes that we can budget nothing, put an amendment onto the budget to supplement later in the year if the need for it exists.
Mr. Rubin?
And that is correct, but to have a place to get the money from, because you always have to, once you've set the total budget, you have to have some place. So you don't have to call it economic development, same as we didn't have to call this health department. It'd just be going into, be placing that $55,000 into a contingency fund. It would require a three-quarters vote as an amendment to delineate that to a new form. So it would be a very stringent vote to take it out.
Mr. Blankenship?
Given the fact that we're in deficit spending, I don't believe that would be the wisest thing to do.
And again, if we don't expend it, it just falls through to the fund balance. So.
Mr. Bateman?
So, instead of going back and forth making different line items, if it falls through to the fund balance, and say 6 months down the road, the new latest and greatest thing comes along, we can then can we then make a budget amendment to pull money out of the general fund balance to fund? We can, okay.
Not from the fund balance.
Oh,
Not unless you've already.
That was my point about
There's
making a
line-
different line
Unless
item,
there's a
then
line
we put
item
it
up in the
there.
budget. As, if you'll all remember, whenever we've made an amendment to the budget, and we've had to go and say, okay, we're gonna take it out of major criminal cases, that's because major criminal cases already had a line item with an expenditure. If it's already down in the fund balance, you can't go reach down there and get it. It's gotta be already an expenditure someplace to be able to transfer that. That's why we always have those transfer lines. So,
Okay.
Okay. Anything else, Mr. Blankenship?
I just believe this year's budget is an indication of the lack of economic development that we've had. So I think that we better get together, form a commission, and possibly take a look at this from a different perspective and see how we can form a different partnership. Or I personally would not prefer to see it in the hands of a 501c3. I think this is something that should be handled by the county.
I have a question. What are all the ramifications of passing this? Would we fall out of the Greater Peoria Economic Development Council?
There's not been a motion made to remove us from SEDS.
that's more connected with the $5,000 of SEDS money.
Okay.
And we're a member of that. It took us, I don't know, 5 years to get into, so. But we're a member until we're not in good standing, which is that $10,000 worth of SEDS money that they get each year.
The Logan County Board is a member, not the Logan
No.
County Economic Development.
Not Logan County Economic Development. The Logan County Board, he has, along with the city of Lincoln, we each contribute $5,000. Now, that has been going to economic development, and they've been passing it on through to them, but we can send ours directly if that's the choice of the board.
Mr. Rawls?
So SEDS has been receiving $10,000, yet we've been budgeting, or we have a line item of 5,
Right, city pays 5. We pay 5.
I see. Okay.
And they,
Okay. Tuesday night, I'll make a motion to withdraw $5,000 from line item 10124, 53006. Says.
Is there a second? Mr. Blankenship? Any discussion on that? Okay. Anything else under finance?
no, not for myself, Madam Chairman.
We might have a couple people that wanted to speak to this. Should we wait till public comments, or do you want to do it?
yeah.
You want to do it now? Does anybody wish to speak in regards to the last two motions, economic development? Mr.
Just a
Farmer?
minute, I know Mr. Rubin and Mr. Hefner talked about 15,000 transfer from matching tax fund and then the opposite side, the county bridge fund. I just want to make sure that's in there.
Yes.
In other words, okay?
We'll need to make those amendments Tuesday night
Yeah.
also.
I just want to make sure.
Yep.
It was there. And, it's not Road and Bridge Committee yet.
Tommy Young, are you wishing to speak on this topic, economic development?
Well, from what we've seen so far, up our way and all, we were backing up pretty much 100% of what they were talking about as far as eliminating both of them line items. We're not seeing that much development, and with the figures we seen the other night, this economic development has been, or all this information has been going downhill, so therefore we support that and back it up if that can be done. Thank you.
Amy Worthstein?
The other part of that we're having a problem with up in Atlanta regards to economic development is we now own 15 acres that cost us $500,000 that we don't know how we're gonna be able to pay for, and that was through the economic development recommendation and whatever plan or scheme they worked up to get that done for. We also have the problem of some really bad PR happening right now. I'm sure you've seen the Courier, the Lincoln Daily News, and now it was just released in the Pantograph. Secretary of State's doing a lot of investigations. We also have a special investigator at the state police who's doing investigations. I think at this point, the county board does not want to have those kind of things dug into here, and we just need to cut ties so that we can keep it clean and copacetic where we need here at the county, and we'll try and clean things up at our end of the county, and hopefully this won't have any backlash on you guys.
Thank you. Anything else under finance?
I have nothing.
Okay, moving on. General Assembly, I have nothing. Health, Dr. Hudler?